Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right. We are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have Jack Hanks with us. Jack is the CEO and founder of VPA Claims Adjusting. So he is here to talk about a topic that we don't really talk a lot about, but it's very important, which is insurance claims. You know, if you own enough real estate long enough, eventually you're going to need them. You're going to need somebody who can help you out with your with things that inevitably go wrong. So Jack, I am super excited to talk about this. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Thanks, man. We're excited to talk about the crazy world of claims adjusting. So
I'm sure you have great stories.
Oh my God. Yeah.
All right. I told you before we get on here, we like to start with stories. I know you're not specifically an investor yourself, but you're in the realm of real estate. So why don't you just tell us, how'd you get into claims adjusting in the beginning?
So I was a restoration general contractor for over 20 years in several markets, including I did a lot of work in the Seattle area as well. And then, it got to the point where insurance companies started getting tighter and tighter, and they started, pinching down on the claims. So I quit that world about 7 years ago and became a licensed public adjuster. And it's a crazy different world we're living in, but yeah, it's fascinating what we see every day, and the lack of integrity and lack of they don't want to pay their claims anymore. So our job is to fight those guys and get it right and get you guys the money you can to get these properties put back together again after a hurricane or a flood or fire or hailstorm. So
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to talk about this because I feel like insurance insurance itself and just the world of claims adjusting is something, it's probably the topic that I know the least about in real estate. So it's something that I can definitely benefit from. Let's just begin. Why don't you tell us, or take us through what a claims adjuster does, what your guys' role is in the process, and when you're called onto duty for an investor like myself.
So our only job is we represent insureds like yourself when they have a property damage claim. Insurance companies aren't big fans of us because we're like having a CPA to do your taxes. The insurance company wants to control the narrative of, they want to bring your premium in, and then when you do have a claim, they want to control what they pay you on a claim. We're hired by the insured and the property owners to come in and basically represent them, document the claim, read the policy, find all the necessary coverages that apply to that claim, apply them properly, write detailed estimates, and submit all the documentation on your behalf to make sure you're getting paid properly, because typically insurance companies, as you can guess, only want to pay about 15 to 20% of the actual value of the claim, not the full claim. So our job is to come in and kind of put the cape on with the cowboy hat and do what we do and make sure you guys are indemnified properly. So when you do get that check, you can hire the right general contractor to come in and get the work done, because you only get one shot to do a claim right. And when you do it wrong, you're basically hurting yourself and your property, because a fire claim, a hail claim can be devastating. And if you do it wrong and you're paying out of pocket, that's not a very profitable way to do business. So our job is to get it right, get it cleaned up, and get you guys paid at the end of the day.
Perfect. Yeah, no, and I'm sure, the first time that I dealt with an insurance claim was actually the first property I bought. It was it was a nightmare. It was a triplex, and we had one of the tenants stop paying rent, and so we evicted him. But he gave us a parting gift on his way out. He plugged the sink and he turned on the faucet, flooded the entire bottom unit, and so there was water. I think it was up to like 3 or 4 inches on the ground there, and so we had to deal with the insurance claim. And it was the longest process. I mean, it was longer than a short sale. It's just it was ridiculous.
We tell our clients, they ask, people always want to ask how long, and they're shocked when I tell them when we're involved, it's usually a year. By the time the claim gets filed and we get the appropriate documentation done, we get it moving, we get you guys paid, you get settled, you get the contractor, you get the work done, it's a year process, and it's exhausting. I mean, we do it for a living, so we're very used to the process of it all. But I feel bad for some of the insureds, like they're thinking it's a 30-60 day thing, and it's not. Insurance companies want to hold every last nickel they can, right? To not pay that out. So it's like it's getting a pair of pliers to pull that money out of them. And then, at the same time, you guys got to find the proper general contractor to get the work done, which in itself is time consuming and a heartache all at one time. So it's a long drawn out process, and there's reasons for that, because the insurance company wants to keep their nickels and dimes in the bank to gain that interest, and so to pry it out of them, it's quite the chore, as you learned, and as through your own experience there. So
yep. And there's a few things that I kind of want to really dive into that I myself don't really understand. One of them is, well, first, just the process of the insurance claim process, and where you guys come in and what someone can expect once they have a catastrophe hit. And actually, let's just start there. Why don't you run us through the process of what it looks like?
Well, what a lot of people and investors and property owners don't really understand is it's the insured's responsibility to present their loss to the carrier. Nobody knows that. So most people let the insurance company have their adjuster come out, who's getting paid by the insurance company, to bring their own experts out, their own contractors out, who are all getting paid by the insurance company to document the loss and get the loss paid. Well, that's not how it's supposed to work. It's the insured's responsibility to present the loss to the carrier. So what we do when we're hired, we have a letter of rep signed, and a contract signed, of course, and we are paid a percentage of the claim as things are paid out. It's usually around 10%. We basically represent the entire claim process. We ask that the insured no longer talks to the carrier. We do all that because you're basically guilty until proven innocent is the problem, right? So we send our documentation team out. They go through the claim. We have 3D imaging we use to go top and bottom of that building. We pull, if it's a weather event, we pull the weather data for that particular meteorology report for that particular address, because weather change, especially in your area, it could be sunny, and then 2 seconds later, you got hail, wind going crazy, right? So we pull the event of the time of it happened, and we document the loss. We read the policy to find all the little nooks and crannies of coverage that they're not going to talk about. And then we package it up and do what's called a proof of loss, which is a notarized form stating, to the best of our abilities, this is the loss that occurred on this date, and here's the associated damages, and here's why the insured is owed this money. And then, of course, the insurance company gets that and goes, you guys are way off. And then they present something back to us. And we basically, at that point, it's a negotiation process back and forth. And you can imagine, we closed the claim yesterday in Texas. We had 97 email correspondence back and forth with the carrier to get the $1.4 million. So part of our job is to grind these claims out and basically just keep picking on their shoulder till it gets it right. And I can assure you, that's why I'm lacking on top of the hairline, because your hair falls out sometimes trying to deal with these guys. So it is a long process, but once again, we're licensed to negotiate claims on behalf of the insured, the property owners. And what I tell my clients, like, you guys are great at investing. You know how to find the good deals and to rehab these things. I don't know the first thing about that. What I do know is how to get a claim paid properly, efficiently, and to the proper dollar amount. I don't like the word maximum. I like the word proper, because we're not here to embellish the claim. We're here to get it right. Mm-hmm. So if the claim is $1, I'll get you $1. Or if it's $1 million, we'll get you $1 million, but I can't get you $2 million on a $1 million claim. It doesn't work that way. That's kind of a big fallacy in our world. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So, period.
The main issue is it sounds like the insurance companies are actually they're lowballing you, and that you're just trying to get it up to parity. You're just trying to bring it up to 100% of what should be paid. You make sure that is paid.
Exactly. So people forget, right? Insurance companies are a for-profit organization.
Yep.
Their CEO's job is to make sure their stockholders, not the policyholders, but the stockholders, are getting their return on their shares. That's their job, right? So, and if I'm the CEO of Allstate or American Family, I would be doing the same thing. I'm there to make sure that my shareholders are taken care of. And the only way they do that is via the policyholders' premiums, and then try and negotiate smaller settlements on the back end. So they're trying to control both narratives. And our job is to kind of make sure the back end is keeping up with the front end. So it's a chore, I can assure you. So
I'm just kind of taking it from my perspective. When I did that one claim, does the insurance cover lost rent? And for instance, if like my self-storage facility were to have a fire, and say like 6 units are taken out of commission, does it cover you just said, sometimes it takes up to a year to get the insurance claim back in, completed. So during that year time, that's a year's rent that's lost. Is that covered in the insurance claim, or is it just the actual physical damage that's covered?
So it depends on your policy. I can assure you 90% of the policies you have probably do cover what's called business income loss.
Okay.
So if you have six units that are down for a year, we have to document that as well, pulling leases and showing your financial statements, things like that. We have to document that part of the loss, but it's called business income loss. So technically, let's say that those units are down for a year and you're getting $300 a month for them. Your policy would allow you to recoup that money. Yes. But you have to incur that loss, right? You can't just say it is. We have to prove it and go through all the paperwork. But yeah, that is part of it. So I would say 90% of the commercial policies do have the business income loss. And I really highly suggest all the listeners and yourself as well, pull your policy out, pull all your policies, make sure you have that BI income, because that can be, it's one thing to get the money to put the thing back together again, but you're actually losing that revenue. So you want to make sure you have that as well. Because the whole idea of insurance is to make you whole at the end of the day. Whole being is you didn't lose any, you shouldn't lose money because of insurance claim. You should be at the end of those 12 months, you should be
on
even
par.
to where you were, besides all the headaches and the rigmarole. But financially, you should be made whole. That's the idea of insurance, is to spread that risk out. So I would encourage everyone to pull their policies, read that part. The key word is business income loss. That's what you want to look
income
for.
Loss. Okay. And that kind of leads into my next question is, what are the key things, all the commercial investors out there listening to this episode, I've gotten insurance on how many properties and I still don't know, I know general liability, I know all that stuff, but there aren't specific things that I really know to look for. For instance, terrorism insurance comes up all the time and I always say no, but I only say no because I don't feel like terrorism is a thing that should ever happen to my facilities, but I don't really know what that covers. So what is it that you think most investors or most owners out there overlook that they should really be taking a second look at?
So like all of us, the minute we have to get an insurance policy, what's the first thing we say? Give me the cheapest thing I can get my hands on. Right? And I look at it, I'm like, God, I can save $300 by getting this without tow coverage on my daughter's vehicle, right? And next thing you know, she totals it and I'm paying for a tow charge and rentals, which whatever. So it's human nature. All of us are here to save every nickel, every dime. So we always tell our broker, hey man, get us the best, smallest coverage I can get my hands on. Well, then something happens and then we're ticked off at ourselves, right? So the biggest thing I can tell people is, depending on where you're at, look at your, we do a lot of hurricane work, right? So make sure your hurricane deductibles are small enough, because if you have a 5% hurricane and or wind and or hail deductible, you're looking at a $400,000 or $500,000 deductible sometimes. And you're basically co-insuring that roof. That's a lot. So look at that. Make sure your policies are RCV, not ACV, which means, so what happens is, let's say you have a $100,000 claim and you have an RCV policy, which is real cash value.
Real cash value.
Yeah, okay. Cash. Yeah. So let's say that you're owed the whole 100. On an ACV policy, which is actual cash value, You're only owed the depreciated value. And like you all know, the minute you buy something, things start to depreciate. Metal roofs don't depreciate as fast, but shingle roofs, foam roofs, wood shake roofs depreciate substantially. So in 10 or 15 years, that roof may only be worth half what it is, and you're selling out of pocket the other 50% to get that roof replaced, for instance. So I would make sure you have RCV policies, which is full replacement cost. Make sure your deductibles are low enough to handle. And that, like we just talked about, make sure you have a business income loss valuation in your policy to make sure that when something does, and it will eventually when you have enough properties, right? Something's going to happen, that you have that business income loss, whether it's lost rent or lost, or whatever your business is, you're getting that money recouped out of the carrier. Make sure you have those three things are very, very, very important. So high deductibles aren't always the best thing to have, I can assure you. We have claims that have $1 million deductibles, and they have $900,000 loss, so there's no money for them. And they're freaking out. I'm like, well, that's what it's called, buyer beware, right? And no lawyer, no public adjuster can overturn those deductibles. They are your policy is your contract that you purchased with your insurance company. So you are both sides are bound by that contract.
Okay, make sure that the deductible is low. That's a very good thing to know. That's
right?
Like health insurance. Some policies out there, it's like, a couple $100 a month, but their deductible is like $20,000 for for health insurance.
Oh yeah, I think my health insurance deductible is 20 grand or 15 or 20 grand. I'm still paying $1,800 a month for my health insurance. So
yeah,
we want to avoid that as much as we can, because once again, you don't need it until you need it, and when you need it, it's important you're not scraping up for some huge funds just to pay your deductible.
Yep. Awesome. So the one thing that I deal with on a freaking day-to-day business, or a day-to-day issue that arises in my self-storage facilities, is vandalism. I have people breaking into doors, breaking locks, breaking fences, whatever it is, they're going to break it. And so I deal with that all the time, but I don't submit an insurance claim just because it's so small.
Yeah.
But when it comes to vandalism, what is covered generally in an insurance claim?
Well, it depends on your policy. You can purchase whatever you want in an insurance policy. So vandalism typically is covered in your policy. But once again, your deductible kicks in. I'm guessing you probably have a $2,500 deductible on your policy. And I'm guessing most of your stuff isn't going to hit that mark. So you got to be very careful. You're not a habitual claim guy, because they will cancel that policy. You become a huge risk for them. So you want to be you got to be very selective on what you want to turn into the carrier, because you don't want to have you don't want to have 10 little claims, because they will get rid of you, and you're going to go from a decent insurance carrier down to a sub B or a sub C carrier, and then your rates are going to go through the roof, and you're going to have even crappier coverage than you have before. So these smaller, like when you get a ding on your car, same thing. I would not turn stuff like that in, just because there's a thing called a clue report on every property. It's kind of like your credit report on your property. It lists every claim y'all had on the property. And I suggest when you buy these properties, you probably want to get a copy of that to see what's been done to that property claim wise. So I caution my clients not to be a habitual claim guy, because it's so hard to get coverage on that stuff. Insurance isn't really geared for little stuff. It's there to mitigate a large risk, right? A fire, a flood, a hurricane, hail, wind, things like that. These little onesie twosie things, man, that's where it gets sticky. And why turn a $3,000 claim when you have a 25? It's not worth the $400. It's really not.
Yep.
So yeah, I look at the insurance as a catastrophe situation, not a onesie twosie thing, because it can get out of hand very quickly, and it's going to cost you more in the long run to recoup those costs.
So you mentioned clue report. That's actually something pretty useful for due diligence. I'd never heard of that before. So
when you go to buy a property, I would get with your broker and say, and they can look at the loss runs on that property, and they can tell you, hey, was there a fire? Was there a flood? And then you can see if the repairs were done properly, because that could actually help you buying. If somebody got a check a few years ago for a couple $100,000 and didn't do the work, you got to look at that, because that's going to be hard to get insurance on that. So you got to make, I would pull that, have your broker, when you're looking to buy a property, pull the insurance claim run on that every time to see what was going on there. And hopefully if there was a claim, it was handled and was paid, and those repairs were done. Because what you don't want to have done is, that let's say you had a hail claim in 2020, and the guy put the money in his pocket and didn't do the work. you're not going to get paid again for a hail claim on that same property. You only get paid once until the work is done. You're basically self-insuring that at that time. So you can be very careful with stuff like that. Yeah, it's a whole different one. I'm telling you, it sounds boring, but it's the stuff we get calls on all the time. It's just like, dear God, we are very much the bearer of bad news. A lot is the problem. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I did check the clock. We are running out of time, but before we do that, before we go on to the quick question round, you were talking about small claims. Don't submit them. Totally makes sense to me. What if you had? So can you? I'm just thinking back to my self-storage facilities. Like I swear to God, it's like every other week somebody breaks a door or kicks in a door or something like that. If I were to wait for say 10, 20 of those to happen and then submit them all at once, is that suggested? Or is it just don't even look at those, just wait until something big happens?
So insurance is so every one of those is its own loss. It's per occurrence.
Okay. Yep.
So if Mr. Jones kicks in a door, Mrs. Smith kicks in the door, and John, and each one of those is a separate claim.
Yep.
Each event is individually tagged. So I mean, honestly, it's cost
not even worth it,
brother. Yeah, it sucks. I get it, but it sucks.
Yep. Makes sense.
Yep.
All right. Well, that does wrap it up. We do have to move into the quick question round, but I appreciate you coming on and sharing that knowledge. Insurance is something that, all of us need to know. We wish that we did too. Yep, exactly. So yeah, let's jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Let's do it. It starts with books or any form of education. I'm a big bookie, so give me 2 recommendations: one for general life wisdom, one for real estate specific or insurance specific.
So the book I am reading right now, it's called Pay Up by Chip Merlin. So Chip is from Merlin Law Group. He's kind of the guru of insurance claims. He kind of started doing this in the late or early 80s. So he's been there, done that. He's a great litigation attorney. I go to him he has a blog. It's great. The second book I've been reading, it's actually an audio book because I don't have time to sit down and read all the time. It's called Traction Tools. It's an EOS business system we've implemented, and it's made my life a living hell. At the same time, it's been the greatest thing I've ever done. So it's kind of putting rules together and taking titles away, and it's been great for us. So, but I do want to kill myself half the time, but the other half the time it's been great. So it's a mind change, a mind shift is what it is for business.
I love it. And that kind of leads to the next question. This is for tools. We live and die by the tools we use, especially software tools. So if you can point to one tool, software system that you use day in and day out that you feel contributes the most to your business, what tool would that be?
We have a thing called Claim Wizard, and every piece of paper, every email, every photo, it lives and breathes our business. It's an app on our phone. It's on our laptops. Every claim gets opened up through that, and it just gathers all the information to one spot and puts it all together. So we do have a question. I can literally go on a Sunday night and look when somebody has a question, and it's right there. It's been great for us. So
perfect. I love it.
Yep.
That moves us on to the next one. This is for your younger self. So if you could go back to the Jack who had no experience in claims, he was just getting started. So go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Get out of the construction business a hell of a lot earlier and become a claims adjuster. I wish I would have done this 15 or 20 years earlier. And I didn't. I don't regret it. I mean, I learned a lot along the path was great, but this is a much healthier family business to be in than it is a construction company, because I was a contractor. It was living hell. So I enjoy this 10 times better.
I appreciate all contractors out there, but man, I could not do that job for sure.
I couldn't do it anymore. It was exhausting. I give them all the credit in the world. I just couldn't mentally do it anymore.
Yep. All right, and that moves us on to the next question. We are all gifted with specific strengths, something that we individually contribute to this world. So what is your Superman strength? What are you exceptional at?
I think a lot of it, I work hard, and hard work does not scare me. So I think that's kind of my strength. Sometimes it's a detriment because that we say your biggest strength is your biggest weakness. So sometimes my hard work, it costs relationships, family time. I tend to put work first, which I'm getting a hell of a lot better at. But the hard work and the grind, I excel the busier we are. When I have nothing to do, I'm the worst employee in the history of the world. When I have a zillion things to do, we perform like magic. So that's probably my Superman strength. So and patience is not my Superman strength by any means. So
That's funny. I'm kind of the same way. When there's not a lot to do, I am so unproductive. I can have one task and it'll take me 10 years to get that one task done. But if I have 100 tasks that I need to do, I'm gonna be pumping them out like nobody's business.
I'm so old school. I use my yellow notepad every day. The more stuff on it I can check off, the better. But I have 3 things, I'm a mess. So it's great.
I love it. All right, and that leads us to the second to last question. You're not an investor yourself, but I'm going to ask this question anyways. The United States, it's a big place. There's a lot of opportunity out there, a lot of square miles to invest in. So what metro are you most excited about that is not your backyard?
Well, I live in Scottsdale, and like I said before the podcast started, our real estate's went up 58% here, and it's going to start to crash again. I was actually on Zillow the other day looking at the Dallas market. It seems to be always the most stable. That Houston, Dallas. I don't think Texas ever really gets the full punch of either side like we get in certain areas. So I was actually looking at. I have a lot of friends in Dallas, so I actually could move there and get a twice as big house as I have now for the same amount of money. So that Dallas market's always been intriguing to me. Plus, there's a ton of claims there for us. So I would always think about Dallas to be a little more stable than what I have here in Scottsdale. I can tell you that.
Yep, Dallas is a great market for sure. I have 2 self-storage facilities out there,
Oh, cool.
and I bought them a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and I never knew how freaking big Dallas is. It is Dallas Fort Worth, huge, just giant cities. Like it takes forever to drive through them.
No, it's like 2 hours from one side to the other. So
yeah,
it's nuts.
That's absurd. All right, and that leads us to the very last question. You have given us a lot of good advice. I'm sure people out there want to reach out with questions about insurance claims. So what is the best way for somebody to get a hold of you?
The best way is email. My email address is Jack, JACK @VPA.claims, VictorPaulAllen.claims. And we do about 1,000 claims a year. So I prefer people ask questions up front before they have something going on, but we're licensed in 38 states. We handle claims coast to coast, north, south, east, west. We're here to help you guys. Earlier questions are better than later questions. So plan this. I know you don't want to plan for this stuff, but you got to have a good team before the stuff really hits you, because it could be devastating. I've seen people wiped out because of insurance claim. It's not fun. So
I believe it. And that's why you need to get you in the corner before something bad happens. Totally
Amen.
makes sense to me.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, that wraps it up, Jack. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Awesome, dude. Thank you. We appreciate being on.
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. If you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Other than that, as always, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started, or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the Investors Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automagically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investors Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesalers Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day and even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.